Right now, I need you to do something for me. Stand up from wherever you are sitting. If you are on the couch, if you are in a kitchen chair, it does not matter. Stand up and then, without holding on to anything, slowly lower yourself down on one leg, just one leg. Bend your knee and try to sit back down under control. Can you do it? Or did your leg shake violently halfway through? Did you collapse the last few inches and crash into the seat? Maybe you could not even attempt it because your knee screamed at you before you even started. If any of that just happened, I need you to hear this clearly. A study published in the British Medical Journal found that adults over 60 who cannot control a single leg lowering motion have nearly double the risk of a serious fall within the next 2 years. Double. That is not a scare tactic. That is clinical data. And a serious fall after 60 is not like a fall at 25. At 25, you bruise your pride. After 60, you can fracture a hip. And a hip fracture after 65 has a mortality rate that would shock most people. Nearly 30% of seniors who fracture a hip do not survive the following year, not because of the bone, because of the immobility that follows. The blood clots, the pneumonia, the depression of being confined to a bed. I am telling you this not to frighten you, but because your legs are trying to send you a message right now, and most people are not listening. My name is not important. What is important is that I have spent over 2 decades in orthopedic surgery specializing in patients over 60. I have operated on hundreds of broken hips. I have watched patients lose their independence one muscle fiber at a time. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that leg weakness after 60 is not a death sentence. It is a reversible condition if you catch it early and if you do the right things. Today, I am going to walk you through 5 specific movements that test and rebuild the strength in your legs. No gym, no equipment, no nonsense. Just you, a sturdy chair, and a wall. But I have to be honest with you about something before we begin. Exercise is only half of the equation, maybe even less than half. There is one specific nutrient that most seniors are either not getting enough of or are getting at the wrong time. And without it, every squat, every calf raise, every single rep you do today is essentially wasted effort. Your muscles literally cannot rebuild without this building block. I will explain exactly what it is, how much you need, and when to take it at the very end of this video, after we finish our routine. Please do not skip ahead. The exercises come first because you need to create the demand before you supply the fuel. That is how muscle science works. Let us talk about why this is happening to you in the first place. After the age of 30, every single human being on the planet starts losing muscle mass. The clinical term is sarcopenia. Think of it this way. Your muscles are like a savings account. In your 20s and 30s, you were making deposits. Every time you ran for a bus, carried groceries up the stairs, chased your kids around the yard, you were putting money in the bank. After 30, the withdrawals start. Small ones at first. You lose roughly 1% of your muscle mass per year between 30 and 60. You barely notice it. But after 60, the withdrawals accelerate. Some people lose 3 to 5% per year. That is like watching your bank balance plummet. And the legs, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, these are the biggest muscle groups in your body. They are also the first to go because modern life does not challenge them. You sit in a car, you sit at a desk, you sit on a couch, your legs are essentially unemployed, and unemployed muscles get fired by your body. Your brain literally says, "We are not using these, let us stop feeding them." The good news is that your brain can be convinced to rehire those muscles at any age. Studies from Tufts University showed that even people in their 90s, I said 90s, gained significant muscle strength with the right resistance training. So there is no excuse. There is only a starting point. And your starting point is right now. Before we touch a single exercise, we need to prepare your joints. If you have ever tried to squeeze honey out of a bottle that has been sitting in the back of your refrigerator, you know it barely moves. But warm that bottle up for 30 seconds and it flows like water. Your joint fluid works the same way. It is called synovial fluid, And when you have been sitting or sleeping, it becomes thick and sluggish. We need to warm it up so it coats and protects your cartilage before we ask your legs to work. Movement number 1 is our warm-up, and we are going to do it seated. Sit in a sturdy chair, not a rolling office chair, not a soft recliner, a solid chair where your feet can rest flat on the floor and your knees are bent at roughly a 90-degree angle. Place your hands on your thighs. Now, I want you to slowly straighten your right leg out in front of you. Extend it until it is as straight as you can make it. Point your toes toward the ceiling. Hold that position for 3 seconds. Now slowly bend it back down. Switch to the left leg. Straighten it. Toes to the ceiling. Hold for 3 seconds. Bring it back. We are going to alternate legs for a total of 10 repetitions on each side. As you do this, focus on squeezing the muscle on top of your thigh. That is your quadriceps. That is the muscle that straightens your knee, that locks your leg when you walk, that catches you when you stumble. For many seniors, this muscle has essentially fallen asleep. We are sending it a wake-up call right now. Keep your breathing steady. Inhale through your nose as you lower the leg. Exhale through your mouth as you extend it. Do not rush. Each extension should take about 2 seconds up and 2 seconds down. If you hear a little grinding or popping in your knee, that is usually normal. It is gas bubbles releasing from the joint fluid. As long as there is no sharp pain, keep going. Good. Shake your legs out gently. Let us move forward. Movement number 2 targets your calves and ankles. And this one is more important than most people realize. Your calf muscle is often called your second heart. Why? Because every time your calf contracts, it physically squeezes the veins in your lower leg and pushes blood back up toward your heart. When your calves are weak, blood pools in your feet and ankles. That is where swelling comes from. That is where those heavy, tired legs come from. Strong calves also protect your Achilles tendon and stabilize your ankle, which is the joint most responsible for catching your balance when you step on an uneven surface. Stand behind your chair and place both hands on the backrest for balance. Your feet should be about hip width apart. Now slowly rise up onto your toes as high as you can. Imagine someone has tied a string to the top of your head and is pulling you toward the ceiling. Squeeze your calf muscles hard at the very top. Hold for 2 full seconds. Then lower your heels back down, but do it slowly. Take a full 3 seconds to lower. That slow lowering phase is called the eccentric contraction, and research shows it builds strength and tendon resilience even faster than the lifting phase. We are going to do 12 repetitions. Rise up, squeeze, hold for 2, lower for 3, rise, squeeze, hold, lower. If you feel a cramp threatening to grab your calf, stop immediately. Straighten your leg and pull your toes toward your shin. This is the emergency release for a calf cramp. It works every single time. Now let me tell you something about cramps while you rest for a moment. If you are someone who gets cramps at night, those terrible Charlie horses that wake you up at 2 a.m., there is a very good chance you are low in magnesium. Magnesium is the mineral that tells your muscle fibers to relax after they contract. Without enough of it, the contraction signal gets stuck on like a light switch that will not flip off. A magnesium glycinate supplement taken before bed, usually around 200 to 400 milligrams, has been shown to reduce nighttime cramps dramatically. Talk to your doctor about it, but write it down so you remember. Let us move to movement number 3. This is the one that directly translates to real life. This is the sit to stand. Getting out of a chair is something you do 30 to 40 times a day. Getting off the toilet, getting out of the car, getting up from the dinner table. If this movement becomes difficult, your entire life shrinks. You stop going to restaurants because the booths are too low. You avoid visiting friends because their couch swallows you. You stop living because standing up became too hard. Sit on the edge of your chair. Scoot your hips forward so that your backside is near the front of the seat. Place your feet flat on the floor, slightly wider than shoulder width. Now here is the key. Cross your arms over your chest. This removes the temptation to push off with your hands. Lean your chest slightly forward. Shift your weight over your feet and stand up using only your legs. Then, under full control, sit back down slowly. Do not plop. Lower yourself like you are sitting on a carton of eggs and you do not want to crack a single one. That slow sitting phase is where the real strength building happens. We are aiming for 8 to 10 repetitions. If crossing your arms is too difficult right now, that is perfectly fine. Hold your arms out in front of you instead for counterbalance. If that is still too hard, lightly touch the chair arms with your fingertips, but do not grip and push. Use your fingertips only as a safety net, not as an engine. Every single week, try to use your hands a little less. That is your progress marker. When you can do 10 clean repetitions with your arms crossed, your legs are in a fundamentally different place than they are today. Before we move on, let me mention something about your shoes. If you are doing these exercises in socks on a hard floor, please stop and put on shoes with rubber soles or place a yoga mat under your feet. Socks on tile or hardwood are one of the leading causes of indoor falls. It is such a simple fix, but I have seen it cause life-altering injuries. Wear shoes with a flat, non-slip sole whenever you exercise at home. Movement number 4 is a balance challenger. Balance is not just about your inner ear. It is about the conversation between your feet, your ankles, your hips, your core, and your brain. When that conversation slows down, you fall. This exercise speeds it up. Stand next to your kitchen counter or a sturdy table. Place one hand lightly on the surface. Now, shift your weight onto your left leg. Slowly lift your right foot off the ground, just an inch or two. You do not need to lift it high. Hold this position. The goal is 15 seconds on each leg. While you stand there, I want you to focus on what is happening inside your ankle. Can you feel the tiny micro adjustments? Your ankle is constantly wobbling and correcting, wobbling and correcting. That is your proprioception system at work. Those are the nerve endings in your joints telling your brain where your body is in space. Every second you spend standing on one leg, you are training those nerve endings to fire faster. After 15 seconds, switch legs. Place your right foot down, lift your left. Another 15 seconds. If this is easy for you, try removing your hand from the counter. Just hover it an inch above the surface so you can grab it instantly if you need to. If that is easy, try closing your eyes. I am serious. Close your eyes while standing on one leg. This removes your visual balance system and forces your ankles and your brain to work overtime. But only attempt this if you have a spotter or you are in a very safe position. Do 3 rounds on each leg. This single exercise, done daily, has been shown in multiple clinical studies to reduce fall risk by up to 40%. 40%. That is a staggering number from such a simple movement. Movement number 5 is the hidden muscle activator. We are targeting the gluteus medius. You have probably never heard of this muscle, but it might be the most important muscle in your body for staying upright. It sits on the side of your hip, and its job is to keep your pelvis level when you walk. Every time you take a step and one foot leaves the ground, the gluteus medius on the standing leg fires to prevent your pelvis from dropping to the other side. When this muscle is weak, your pelvis drops, your knee caves inward, your ankle rolls, and you stumble. This is the domino effect behind most falls. Stand sideways next to your wall or counter. Place your near hand on the surface for balance. Stand tall with your feet together. Now, keeping your standing legs straight and your body perfectly upright, slowly lift your outer leg directly out to the side. Not forward, not backward, directly to the side like you are sliding your foot along the floor and then lifting it into the air. You do not need to lift it high. 6 to 8 inches is plenty. Hold at the top for 2 seconds, then lower slowly. We are going to do 10 repetitions on each side. The most common mistake here is leaning your torso over the standing leg. People tilt their whole body to lift the leg higher. That is cheating. Your torso must stay straight up and down like a flagpole. The leg lifts independently. If you can only lift it 4 inches while keeping your body straight, that is better than lifting it 12 inches while leaning like the Tower of Pisa. Focus on where you feel the work. You should feel a deep, burning tightness on the outer side of the hip of the lifting leg. That is the gluteus medius waking up. If you feel it in your lower back instead, you are leaning too much. Reset and try again. After 10 reps, turn around and work the other side. This muscle responds quickly to training. Within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent work, most people notice they feel more stable and planted when they walk. That feeling of being rooted into the ground, that is gluteus medius strength. Now, you have completed all 5 movements. Take a moment and sit down comfortably. Drink some water. You have earned it. But we are not done, because this is the part I warned you about at the beginning. The nutritional secret that makes or breaks everything you just did. When you exercise, you are not building muscle. You are actually damaging it. You are creating tiny, microscopic tears in the muscle fibers. The building happens afterward, during recovery, when your body repairs those tears and makes the fibers thicker and stronger. But it can only do that if it has the raw materials. And the most important raw material is protein, specifically an amino acid called leucine. Leucine is the master switch that tells your body to start the muscle building process. Without enough leucine, your body hears no signal. The repairs do not happen. The exercise was essentially a withdrawal from your muscle bank with no deposit to replace it. Here is the problem. As you age, your body becomes resistant to leucine's signal. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. A 25-year-old needs about 1.5 grams of leucine per meal to flip the muscle-building switch. A 65-year-old needs nearly 3 grams per meal just to get the same response. That means you need to be very strategic about your protein sources. The best sources of leucine are eggs, especially whole eggs with a yolk, Greek yogurt, chicken breast, fish, particularly salmon and tuna, cottage cheese, and whey protein powder, which has the highest leucine concentration of any food source. You should aim to eat 25 to 35 grams of protein at every single meal, not just dinner. Most seniors eat almost no protein at breakfast, a little at lunch, and then try to cram it all in at dinner. Your body cannot use it that way. It is like trying to fill a small cup with a fire hose. Most of it spills over and is wasted. Spread it out. 3 meals, each one with a palm-sized portion of protein at minimum. And there is one more thing, vitamin D3. Without adequate vitamin D, your muscles cannot contract efficiently. You can have all the protein in the world, but if your vitamin D level is below 30 nanograms per milliliter, your muscles will remain weak and sluggish. Ask your doctor for a simple blood test. It is called a 2,5-hydroxy vitamin D test. If you are low, a daily supplement of 1,000 to 2,000 international units of D3 with a meal that contains fat, because D3 is fat soluble, can make a noticeable difference in your strength within a month. So here is your plan going forward. Do this 5-movement routine 3 days per week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday works beautifully. On your off days, simply walk. Even 10 minutes counts. Eat protein at every meal. Stay hydrated. If you commit to this for 30 days, here is what you can expect. In the first week, you will feel sore. That is normal. That is your muscles remembering they have a job. By week 2, the soreness fades and the movements start to feel smoother. By week 3, you will notice something strange. You will stand up from a chair and realize you did not use your hands. By week 4, someone will notice. Your spouse, your child, your neighbor. Someone will say, "You seem more steady on your feet." That is not a compliment. That is clinical proof that your muscles are rebuilding. I make these videos because I spent too many years on the wrong end of this problem, repairing damage that could have been prevented. Every hip I have operated on, every patient I have seen lose their independence. It haunts me because in so many cases, it did not have to happen. 3 days a week, 5 movements, proper nutrition. That is the prescription. If this video helped you today, I would genuinely appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel. I have a video coming next week on the 3 warning signs your knees are deteriorating and what to do before it is too late. I do not want you to miss it because early action is the difference between a simple exercise fix and a surgical table. Save this video to your favorites so you can pull it up tomorrow morning and do the routine again. Share it with your spouse, your sibling, your friend, anyone you care about who is over 60. You might be handing them back years of independence with a single link. Thank you for staying with me through this entire video. Now go eat some protein. I will see you in the next one.